Hello Galactic family. Today the day brings joy. Today is the day of the start. Resumption of much love, strength and hope. My dear children, have been living for a long time in situations of pain and suffering. They were involved in tears that became a deep river, where you could not go out without seeking outside help. They no longer knew how to find strength in yourself. They were tired of the struggle for a few moments, which no longer accept the fact of having to always be the seekers of the aid, while, in fact, would like to be the ones that lead to the relief they need. They spent the suffering of the stage without knowing how to get your inner strength. They no longer found most were immersed in a reality where they did not know how to get out. Today, my children, they are already stronger, more independent and bearers of light within. The external search, children, only delays the way meeting with this true identity, one that will only find within you. I come to tell you, with love, in this message, directed especially to those who are already following the path of charity practice long ago and which still do not find solution to their own pains and problems. My beloved children, the internal search is part of its evolution, its own healing. Only by then, you will get solution to their problems. The practice of charity, the external search, just bring relief and joy, to walk their day's experience in the field, if they are part of their mission. But do not bring your inner healing. Many of you, dear children, seek charity or various other forms of activities, an escape from yourself. Many remain living a false identity in a charity work, but does not allow them to look into themselves, truly. The experience of an identity that is not their own, children can help to some extent, as a kind of training, where you will practice the experience would be like if they were, which you are not. From this experience, it is when they realize they cannot remain in that identity devised for long. When you retire to your interior, there are not that idealized person, but one to which no longer want to be. This meeting causes a shock, children, and is a positive shock. Through experience in duality, as explained, can they realize they are not what we idealize happiness. For they not looked into it. So at that time children at the time of discomfort, direct the attention to the interior, to silence the mind, ask yourself why are not the personalities who devised. Explore the inside to find the cause. Many of you children have internal locks that are very easy to remove, but are there hidden, simply because they never decided to look for them. Living immersed in a life created by the mind, they were leaving that kept blocking and increasingly hidden and difficult to access. Often, children, even when we entered into a true reality, from the heart, are faced with situations in which even emerge a personality that was already forgotten in time, in yourself. And this exhibition is just to be healed and not to this point is saved again. Full healing and elevation of the spirit, children, occurs only when they are thoroughly cleaned inside. So the opportunities that you have treatment and cure of forgotten aspects, will bring seeking. Will bring the possibility of you being what always longed for. But complete and full way. This is the walk of raising my children. Some aspects need to be kept for many years, and even for many incarnations, to be exposed only when you are ready to work it. Do not rush, children, for when trying to deal with aspects that are not yet ready, can bring more suffering and loss. Therefore, trust in God's time. Surrender your life to Him. Let the experiences and feelings come naturally and start to treat each aspect when exposed. Following the natural flow without interrupting the treatment at the time of this report, but also, without seeking more suffering in an attempt to cure all the aspects which are not yet prepared. Children are required many years of living with their identities not resonate more, so that they then can be lighted only from the moment that the aspects and experiences come are exposed. Allow the free flow of these experiences, accepting and allowing them to be led by God and not by yourself. But perhaps some are wondering how to scour internally, how to seek out these hidden aspects, and I tell my children, to seek for their emotional triggers, or your inner misfits. Let's think about it. All times that deviate from their true nature, beyond its purpose and do what is not natural to them, you will have a reaction in your mood that will be manifested by fear, anger, the sadness or the feeling of abandonment. Then we have our first emotional trigger to seek us in our interior. Our emotions, our feelings misfit, what draws in energy, is the first sign that something needs to be sought. If there is this emotional trigger, then there is something to be sought. A second step that we will fix in our day, are what the facts in our lives that bring us these feelings repeatedly. What are the emotions that are repeated from time to time, for experiences that are brought, which leave us nervous, sad, fearful or make us feel less abandoned without protection? So let's start to write down these events in our lives, pay attention to them. Every time we have this inner imbalance, which leads us to express something at odds with the feeling of love and inner peace, we will repair an open heart as this cycle occurs in our lives. What are the events that lead to imbalance and these inner emotions? This is an exercise that requires a lot of courage, truth and sincerity with the real purpose of elevation of the soul. Let's play the most painful points in our lives and often we will just give up. But then we will repair the return cycle, which move us again to have the same reactive emotions. In this exercise we see that there is a cycle within. A cycle that occurs, in fact, in imbalance and doubt emotions. This cycle repeats itself and leads us to the same lower emotions and feelings. What we propose is to identify this cycle through facts in Desadjustum. But we must be aware that the imbalance is inside and not caused due to external fact. What is outside is the trigger that leads us to take contact with these lower emotions. Then we will have our emotions that lead us to make contact with our lower aspects, with those who are not true within ourselves, but character of the fruit we create in our mind. But we make contact with these lower emotions and identify a cycle, which with hard work, willpower and sincerity the real purpose of raising us propose to break. And how it will be done? Just watching the emotions that lead to anger cycle, sadness, fear or inferiority. This cycle will return from time to time, be assured that, but as we propose to change our response, we will cleanse us and they will become increasingly smooth until one day, it will simply disappear. Do you realize that life leads us to these lower feelings, but when we refuse to analyze them open, free heart, to feel our own pain, to identify our hurts, faults, fears, will be arrested for this indefinite cycle of pain and suffering. But, as we decided to look for these feelings within ourselves, then they gradually start to become softer. What we do in this exercise is the cleaning of our records from the search of our truth. When we seek us with sincerity and detachment from our own pain, we are purifying and becoming the masters of life, taking care of our soul and giving birth to the manifestation of our true divine essence. But I say, my children, which is a hard exercise to be done, because it will stir the main point of our lives, the roots of our suffering, which is precisely our attachments, what we want for our lives at any cost, or what we think not being able to live without. From this simple, but hard exercise, as it requires the inner sincerity so rare in the way humanity has been educated to live, will be anchoring his own purification and creating from the heart, a life more in tune with our true soul purpose, with our highest truth. You see, my children, those who in all sincerity of soul, know sorry for themselves, if they intend to look that way, begin a beautiful process of opening their gifts of the soul. It is from there that our mediumship manifests, that the gifts came to bring to this world are anchored in our lives. For as we allow ourselves to get rid of these restrictions, it becomes true, and this truth is manifested in our energy field beautiful and magnificent way. It is a very love of exercise, in fact, break the pain cycle, so that life may be revealed in all its purity, so that we, from ourselves manifest to the world the light of our hearts, bound for a lighter and smoother way. From our pain, we will create light, because the restriction that we keep in our record, will be converted into experience that illuminates the soul. But for every point that we have stirred in our life, light is released from exponential way, adding a lot of light to our soul. Accept the flow of experiences and cures offered by them. I am here to radiate my love during this process. Master Pallas Athena